As long as you can still hear me, we're good because it
Okay.
records separately on our
Okay.
devices. So video is going to be good. Sometimes it's just Wi-Fi. Um, Although I have new fiber internet as of like
Okay.
the last month, so
That's
it's
so
been
exciting.
it's been really good. Even with streaming Paw Patrol, uh, my daughter's just like wrapped up in a blanket, just her eyes watching, and just a
That's
little
amazing.
little bit for her to put some pretzels in her mouth.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but yeah,
That's
my
awesome.
kids are very much blanket people. They just they love a good snuggle wrap up in their. All have their favorite blankets, and
Aw,
yeah,
that's so sweet.
I'm very hot natured, so I'm like, I don't remember the last time I slept with a blanket.
It's either one or the other, right? There's never a happy
Yes.
medium.
No, no. I am happy uh when it's like really cold outside
Mm,
and it's like down in the, I don't know, like
mhm,
60s in our house or something, and I can just
mhm,
wrap up. That's when I'm like, okay, now I'll be cozy.
mhm. You would
But
love
yeah.
my dad's farmhouse. He heats it. So it
Ooh.
was part of it was built in the 1800s, right? Like a couple
Oh,
of the
nice.
original rooms, and he heats it to this day by wood burning furnace in the basement, right?
Yeah.
So when it gets cold, it's like 55 degrees for a high in there.
Mm, no, that sounds great. Sounds like a good getaway.
Well, you're
uh,
invited anytime. You need to freeze your
okay.
booty off. Come on up.
Sweet. That sounds great. We're headed into summer and I am already sweating. I burnt the bottoms of
Right.
my feet yesterday because my 3-year-old just went off on her scooter down the sidewalk, and I was like,
Oh
"Hey, come back!"
no.
And then she didn't because she's 3, and
Right.
just kept going. And I didn't have shoes, and I wasn't going to go inside, and
Mm-mm.
so I just took off down the road, and then we got distracted with rabbits, and we found a snake and all that. And then by the time we got back to the house, I was like, I think I burnt the bottoms of my feet running down the
Oh my
sidewalk.
gosh. Okay, but what a
Um,
fun adventure.
yeah, yeah, it was a great little morning. We do this thing with so my wife leaves early to go to work because she works outside the house,
Mhm.
and she takes our oldest two to school because it's on the way to her work, and then I take our youngest about usually 15 minutes later to her daycare because it's just like a come by
Okay.
whenever. Uh, and as everyone is like they're pulling out the drive going down the road, she will just run down the sidewalk until they get to the end of the street. So we have started this thing where we're just running and we chase after the car, and everyone's waving and being like
Oh,
bye bye, and now the neighbors just wave at us as we're running past their house in our pajamas.
that's so sweet though. That's so
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, it's fun. But yeah, then that led into the adventure with the rabbits. But
I love it.
yeah, but yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get started. I can. Um, I love some good banter. Oh, it doesn't look like we're live on YouTube. Okay, well, we're live here. This may be things changed. It used to be where I could just like plug in like the
Mm,
live streaming
mhm,
key, whatever, and then it would just go wherever I tell it to. And now it's like,
mhm.
oh, we want to connect and log into all of your
Oh,
social accounts.
oh no.
Okay, so, but anyway, Melissa, welcome to the show. I'm very excited to finally like chat face to face with
Mhm,
you. We were saying before we started recording this, like,
mhm.
it's crazy that we haven't officially met yet because we've been connected online for who knows how long.
It seems like
Um,
forever.
I know, yeah. I don't remember like the time where I'm like, oh yeah, that's when I met Melissa. It's just we found each other
Mhm.
somehow. Uh, but I'm very glad and very glad that you're here on the show and we get to chat.
I am so excited to be here. And same, like, how have we not met in person? This is exciting.
Yeah. one of these conferences, one of these days, maybe at that cabin that we talked about before we started recording. Oh well, little inside thing. But yeah, one of these days we will meet in person and get to shake hands and hug and all the fun
Yes,
stuff.
absolutely.
But yeah, okay. So I want to do a little get to know you before we get to know you, like the whole official bio and everything. So one of the listeners submitted a question.
Ooh.
Oh no, and I didn't pull it up. Here it is. Okay. Ariel asked, "What is your favorite local restaurant and why?"
Oh,
And all
Ariel.
I know, yeah, I hate like absolutes, the like favorites and what's like your least favorite and all that. So I'm gonna do like a little caveat. What's one of your favorite restaurants? Like one of your
Okay.
go-tos and why? Because me, I'm like, well, I really like this place for this reason, and I really like this one, but I don't know which one's favorite. So yeah, what's one of your favorites?
Okay, one of my favorites. One that okay, I guess you could say we're regulars because we know all the waitresses and they know our orders and things like that.
I would say that's a regular, yeah.
Right, that's a regular. One of our go-tos is this little deli called Milwaukee's Deli here in Kansas City. It's in my favorite neighborhood in the whole entire city. It sits on the corner. It feels like you could be looking out the windows and like be in any city anywhere, like Chicago or New York or that kind of thing. And I love it so much. But
Nice.
they have these, it's just a deli, right? So it's not fancy schmancy. But they have these slices of pizza that are like as bigger than your face, right? Like you order a slice of pizza and it's like 3 meals. You know what I mean? It's incredible. But the building that it's in is this old hotel from like the 1920s, and they kept as much of the like flooring and light fixtures and art on the wall that you can. And there's this giant mural from the neighborhood in that time with like this Anheuser-Busch beer delivery wagon out front and horses.
Nice.
And like, it's incredible. I love it.
That is
Love
cool.
it,
That feels like it seems like that has like a really cool vibe to it.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to pick.
Yeah.
But that's one that we go to. I don't know. I like hole in the wall local places. So take me to like
Same.
Like the sketchy Vietnamese restaurant that looks like you don't want to eat at, but is amazing. Or the hole in the wall ice cream joint that you're like, this place could fall over at any minute. That's it. I'm there.
Yes. That's what I look for when I'm traveling. I'm like, I don't want the fancy, like modern architecture and all that. I want the one that I can't read what's on the menu because it's a different language. And I just like point. I'm like, this one?
Yes.
I don't know.
Right.
And yeah. And like it's those hole in the wall places, those always have the best food.
Right. Right. Well, have you ever been to Kansas City, John?
Yes, a couple times.
Have you been to Joe's that's in the old gas station? So Joe's is Kansas City barbecue, right? So when you talk Kansas City barbecue, this place was built inside of the the one with the dinosaur. What's that gas station? I can't think of it off. Sinclair. But I
don't know if we have those here.
They all have a giant green dinosaur out front of them.
That's fun.
But Joe's was literally started in the side of this gas station, right? And the main restaurant is still there. It's the most authentic slash I don't know, not greasy spoon, but like just out of this world. But it's like you bring people to Kansas City, let's go to the gas station to get barbecue.
Yeah. Okay. No, that sounds like the best place to get barbecue. And I know like Kansas City, very big into barbecue. It's like, was it North Carolina, Kansas City, and like Austin, Texas are like the three that just like tout that it's the best. I don't know if I've had Joe's. I know that I've had Kansas City barbecue and it was very good. And I watched, I don't know if you ever saw the Netflix series called Chef's Table. Great cinematography, music, the storytelling is so good, and the food looks amazing. And they did a season on barbecue, and I know that they did one in Kansas City, and Joe's sounds familiar. I'll have to rewatch that and see maybe it's in there.
But it might be.
Yeah. I don't think I've had that, but it's definitely on my list for next time I'm in town.
Yes. I will take you to the gas station with the dinosaur
Nice,
and we will
nice.
get barbecue.
That sounds amazing. Awesome. Okay, so other than gas station barbecue, what is your life? What do you do, Melissa?
Yeah.
What do you do for work? And oh, you mean you're in Kansas City, so we know that much
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do I do for work? I am a systems and workflow consultant, if you want to put the official terms on it, right?
Mhm.
My email signature says I'm a system secret weapon. That's much more the title that I prefer, if you
Yes, I like
will.
that.
Um, but essentially, I help small business owners, specifically photographers, get their systems, workflows, CRMs up and running, help them implement workflows, get those automations built, help them build their dream client experience, do all of that so that they can spend less time behind their laptops and more time living their life and practicing their craft, which is really why you start a business in the first place, right? To do what you
Right.
love,
Oh
not all
yeah.
the stuff you don't like. So,
Right. No, I love that. And that's like everything that we want. It's like, yes, that is what I want, to be able to have more time and to be like able to do things efficiently
Mhm.
and not get in that like rut of, okay, I have to do this and then I have to do this from scratch every single time.
Right.
Like I remember the first time that I made an email template, I was just like, this is crazy. It just saved so much time and so many spelling errors because it was just, yeah, click here,
Yes.
change a couple things, send it
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
And it felt like a superpower of just like, ooh, I created so much time for myself. This is great.
Right. Well, you think on average. So I, in my former life, I was a business analyst on a process management team for a large corporate healthcare IT company, right? So like numbers
Okay.
and spreadsheets are also my jam.
Hmm.
I track data on my clients, right? So like we're talking hours saved. On average, it takes you, you figure, to write an email about 10 minutes, to manually write an email to take into account like your clients' questions and everything you need to do. So if you were to write, you know, let's say 5 emails a day by hand, that's 50 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Which is almost an hour of your time just
Yeah.
writing emails. But using
Just
that
five.
template, just
Yeah.
5, right? But by using a template, you have that, right? At least, so you're talking 25 minutes tops now, which is manageable and doable, if you
Hmm.
will. So I'm a big, you're talking email templates. Oh, I'm here for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And like that is huge, especially when you're talking about like being quick on responding to inquiries.
Mhm.
It's if it's going to take you 10 plus minutes to like make sure you've got their names spelled correctly and all the
Mhm.
details and all of that in there, and then like, oh yeah, do I need to tell
Mhm.
them about this and what is that link to that
Mhm.
freebie that I want to send and all
Mhm.
that. And instead, like
Mhm.
my inquiry template, I can get those out in less than like 30 seconds because
That's
I'm
cool.
like, I've got all of this
Yes.
information and then I just put in a few details that are
Mhm.
personalized to them at the top and then all set.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I love those kind of things. I love which I'm very excited about the conversation today. I'm like, I'm sure I'm gonna like learn some stuff too. I'm like, ooh, I need to implement that in my business. Um, but I know like some people are a little skeptical of systems and workflows and feel, I don't know, more of like the I don't know, is this really gonna
Mhm.
save me all that much time? I'm doing this. It's like the if it ain't fixed, don't work it.
Mhm.
No, wait,
Don't break it.
that's not it.
If it ain't
if it
broke,
ain't
don't
broke,
fix
don't
it.
fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've even said that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that kind of mentality of like,
Mhm.
this is working fine. It's fine. I'm a little stressed. It's cool. I don't have enough time, but it's working. And
Mhm.
and then not moving on from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. 100%.
Yeah, but like for the people that are a little bit more on the hold on a second. Do you need some help? Or are you just making faces at me?
Oh.
Okay, you can make faces. That's fine. Just I have a window in the door, and she's just sticking her face up against it and making faces.
But that's wonderful.
It's great. I love it. I just told her if you need something, like I got her extra snacks and drinks and all of that, and I was like, if you need something, just come knock on the door. And then she did, just to make some faces.
That's a
Actually,
good thing. That's a
let me check
Yeah.
real quick and make sure it's not like some
course.
weird
Oh my gosh, of course.
ad or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
You're
We're
fine,
not
you're
live
fine.
anyway, so
It's fine. Take your time.
You want to say hi? Okay. Just real quick, and then I'm gonna get your show back on.
Hi. How's Bluey today? You're not watching Bluey. You're watching Paw Patrol. How's Paw Patrol today?
There we go.
How's
She
Paw
wanted to say
Patrol?
hi.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
I'm so glad. You look so snuggly, girlfriend. Are you cozy?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
All right, let's go get you set up again. Again. You have fun. I'll be right back.
She's stinking
Okay.
adorable.
So cute.
Adorable.
Yeah. Yesterday I was recording an intro for an upcoming episode, and she just came in because I had the door open, and she was like, "Can I say something?" I was like, "Sure," and just like held her up, and then she just went on and on about school and about how mom's at work and dad's at work, and she wants to be in school, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah, just keep talking. That's cool." So
That's so fun.
I'll clip that out, save it as a
Yeah.
personal file, because you know,
Yeah.
10 years from now,
Absolutely.
definitely gonna love that video.
Right?
Um,
Oh my gosh. To
yeah.
have that.
Oh, yeah.
genuinely.
yeah. My wife and I started doing a podcast for no one, where it's just the two of us talking, and we just talk about what's going on, because we were
That's so
talking about
fun.
like how neither of our parents are very open with like
Mhm.
what life was like for them
Mhm.
in their 20s or their 30s or early marriage and all that. They're just like, I
Mhm.
know things were good, and then we had kids and y'all were great, and like, but there were definitely some
Mhm.
struggles, and like it would be great to hear about that kind
Right.
of stuff. And we were like, it would be cool to have like recordings of them, and we were like, we could
Yeah.
do that for our kids and just
That's such a good
document
idea.
this season. And we've just kind of been talking about like recent stuff, but we're planning to do some of like talking about like their pregnancies and birth, and like the first few moments
Oh
of
my
like having
gosh.
them and all that, so that they can hear that story from us in our 30s and not us in our 60s whenever they're having kids and all that.
That's wonderful. That's such a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah, and it's fun. So we were talking about bringing the kids in for something and maybe doing like a video something like that because I have the setup. It'd be very easy to just move this out to the couch and we can all just sit on the couch and talk and just have that recording. It'd be really fun.
That's so precious.
Yeah.
So precious.
Yeah. Okay. Where were we were talking about the people, like there's probably some people who are thinking about systems and workflows and just like, I don't know if that's right for me. Like what I'm doing is working just fine.
Mhm.
If there's some, like, what are some common misconceptions that you hear from people about systems and workflows and all that? Just a
Yes.
few. I know you've got like
Just a few.
probably like
It's
a
like you're
list.
looking at my notebook here where I've got like 20 things listed out.
Yeah.
The first one is that it will actually save them time, right? You already kind of touched on that, which I love because a lot of people think it's going to take me longer to set these systems up than I'm going to save. Yeah. But then, what a question. I had a client come to me last week, a couple of weeks ago, and she said, I asked, why did you reach out now about your systems? And she goes, well, my business coach asked me if I got 50 new leads today, could my systems handle it? And I immediately thought, no, they couldn't. And so I need to fix that now. Right. And so I love that question. And I reached out to the business coach and I was like, hey, that's a killer question. Keep asking.
Right.
But the point of that is you might be able to handle it now, but what happens when your business starts to grow? Would you be able to handle 50 new leads if you're doing everything manually and don't have any templates or things like that? Think about that. Like, we talked a minute ago about how it takes 10 minutes to write an email. 50 emails times 10 minutes. If you had 50 new leads to get back to in a single day, I'm not great at math, but that's like 500 minutes, which is like,
that's a lot
6
of hours.
Yeah. Just to get back to leads, right?
Yeah, that's like your entire workday just getting back to leads.
Right. Plus, realistically, I've worked with creatives for what I feel like is forever. I used to be a wedding photographer and I owned a business with my husband for like 15 or 16 years, right? The one thing I know about creatives, photographers specifically, is that they hate email. They hate email, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's going to save you time there, right? Another misconception is that they have to be complicated, right? You think workflows and your brain instantly goes into like, think of like a ball of tangled up Christmas lights, right? Like, how do you untangle that? And how do you turn that into a workflow? Here's the thing. They don't have to be complicated. They don't have to include 55 steps and minutia. You know what I mean? Like, it can be a 3 email sequence and that's considered a workflow. Start with what you have. You know what I mean? Because your workflows are going to grow and change.
Yeah. No, I love that point of like, it doesn't have to be this huge, like we talk, I hear a lot of pushback on like email funnels and it's just like, oh, well, yeah, that's just, it's so much work. And, I hear these people that have like, a 10 or 20 email sequence for lead nurturing and all that. I'm like, yeah, you don't have to do that right now. You could set up 3 and that's it. And that'll work great. And then once you kind of get that under your belt and you're like, this is a good system, I want to add to this, you can always expand. But yeah, I think a lot of times we do look at other people or hear other people who have been using workflows for years and years, and they're very detailed, and it does feel like that ball of lights of just like, I don't know where the end is, and if one of these bulbs is out, how do I even figure out which one I need to replace? When it's just like a strand of 3, it's like, okay, I can see this one needs work on. Let me fix that real quick and then go on.
Yes. Well, and you made a very good point, John, too, about how you can start with 3 and then decide you want to add to it. That's another misconception about workflows, is that it's set it and forget it, right? Like, once I create it once, I don't ever have to revisit it.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, but like, I think you and I both know that that's something that you should revisit as your business grows and changes. Those workflows need to grow and change too. I am a systems expert. That's what I do, right? One of my systems oh, how do I prevent that from breaking? How do we go in and update that? How do we tweak it? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you have to start with one thing, but then know that as you grow and evolve, your systems and your workflows are going to grow and evolve as well too. So that's,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's that as
Yeah.
well too.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to look at it, is like, you don't have to have everything all at once and get to the like top tier of
Mhm.
all of the, detailed crazy systems and workflows and all that. You can
Mhm.
get started, because you are essentially like starting brand new into this. I mean, your systems currently, I mean, my system used to be printing out a contract and
Mhm.
then mailing it to my client, and then they would sign it and then mail it back in the pre-postage
Right.
envelope that I would send them, and then I would get it and I would sign it and then scan it into the computer, and then I would email them a copy.
Mhm.
That was my system, and I have improved on that. I have them scan it now and email it back to me. No.
Fax? What's
Yes.
that? Wait. Do.
Yeah, what's your fax number?
Let's just...
But like, yeah, I get a page on my beeper every time that it comes through. It's cool. But yeah, like, we all have systems already in place, even if they're not good. And then like just moving a couple steps up from that is great.
Yeah. One thing that a lot of people also think about when it comes to systems and workflows, they think they're going to be super robotic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not personal at all. Very
Right.
dry and hello, good person. And yeah.
Right. And that's not how they have to be at all. Like, most CRMs give you the ability to use custom fields or variables or smart fields or whatever it is you want to call it, right? That
Mhm.
will let you customize those emails. One thing that I like to do with those custom fields is that instead of just using them for basics like email, name, date, that kind of thing,
Mhm.
create some of your own that will let you add that personality to your workflows. You know what I mean? So that you can then add personality and information to your clients, and so that your templated emails come across as more genuine and warm, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
What do you have some examples of those that aren't just the generic
yeah.
name
That's a
date?
great question. So one of my favorites as a wedding photographer, I'm going to refer back to that. One of my favorite fields was the favorite memory from your wedding day. That was a custom field that I created in my CRM, right? And on the way home from a wedding, I would drop in what my favorite memory from that wedding day was. And so then the next day, my automated email will go out that says, "Hey, newlyweds, you had the best day ever. My favorite part was da 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 da." You know what I mean? You can expect
Okay.
your photos in 8 to 12 weeks. So right around, here's the date,
Yeah.
because that was also a custom field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It added
Yeah.
that sense of like, oh, okay, they took the time to write this the day after a wedding. No, babe, I didn't.
I did not take the time to write this. I am
I didn't turn my
still
computer on today.
I'm still sleeping and recovering from being on my feet all day.
Right. Yes, exactly. But you can use it to add things like that. Like, if you're a family photographer, add the kids' names, add your memory from fashion, add something so that it adds that personality to your emails. But
Mhm.
also, like, write these emails like you're talking to a friend, or like you're actually having a conversation in person. Don't just buy a template and install the template and not update it.
Yes. Yeah. I think that is one of the biggest things that I know I had a lot of pushback when I first started using templates and
Mhm.
setting up automations, because I didn't want to, like, I had built a brand around authenticity and being me and being present. And I didn't want it to sound like, it
Mhm.
wasn't me. And
Mhm.
when that like flip switched,
Yeah.
where switch flipped, I am getting my words
I'm here for
all
it.
around. Yeah. But whenever that clicked for me, of like, I can be on and be myself and be personal when I'm writing the automation. So then whenever it comes through, it sounds like me because it's in
Yes.
my voice. And like, even
Yes.
buying templates, changing the wording around, and like, sometimes I'll get them and I'm like, oh, this is so buttoned up and so
Right.
very formal, and which is cool for some people and from whoever I bought it from. But then have to put my own spin on it.
Mhm.
And then it feels like me.
Mhm.
And I get because I
Mhm.
have an automated one that goes out 6 months after a wedding, just like
Yeah.
kind of similar to the like these are some of my favorite things, and
Mhm.
thinking about y'all's wedding and love these
Yes.
photos, and like, so hope y'all are doing so well and all of
Yeah.
that, which is true. And I was thinking about them when I wrote that,
Mhm.
on their 6 month anniversary. I most likely was not, but I, it's still
They don't know
genuine.
that.
They don't know that.
Right.
And yeah, I get some of the best replies of just like, oh, thank you so much. Like, we loved working with you, and like, we haven't written you a review yet, so we're gonna go ahead and do
Mhm.
that right now. I'm like, that's great. Like, that's not the
Mhm.
reason that I send those,
Right.
but that has happened a few times where they're like, oh yeah, it kind of jogs their memory of, oh yeah, we hadn't finished that cycle of what we
Mhm.
wanted to do to show our appreciation.
Mhm.
Now you're back here,
Mhm.
congratulating us on 6 months.
Right.
We're gonna go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
So
That's a great
yeah.
idea. I love that. You use Tave, right? You're a Tave guy. Do I remember that?
Yes, yeah. I use Tave for the most part, and also HoneyBook a little bit,
Ah, yeah.
and then like Trello, and I
Yes.
love a good Trello board. I had that at my 9 to 5 job,
Mhm.
and it was a game changer. And I
Mhm.
just brought it in, and it's really helpful. I like that more than the tasks feature
Yeah.
on pretty much any CRM. It helps me.
It's like you segued
It's
right into another common misconception that I wanted to share.
cool. Yeah, let's do it.
So your CRM is not built to house tasks, right? Like it cannot do all the things.
Mhm.
A lot of them say they can do all the things, but when it comes to project management and tasks,
Yeah.
you said it yourself. You like having a different tool for it. And most photographers, most small businesses need that secondary tool. Yes, your
Mhm.
CRM can house tasks related to your client workflow and that kind of thing. But where the heck are you going to put like your goals or your to dos or like things you need to get done, your editing list, that kind of thing? Like
Yeah.
your CRM's not going to handle that. You
Right.
need a
Or
project
even
management tool.
like the feedback. Like, I have
Mhm.
someone who, like, we delivered a video for them, and they were like, we love the video. It's just we're not really in love with the first song. Could you switch out that? And we do like,
Mhm.
2 rounds of edits
Yeah.
for them. And like that kind of thing, that would not be in my initial task
No.
lineup in the workflow. It's like, oh, but that I
Mhm.
can just add this note in
Mhm.
Trello and move it back to in process, and now I can see that
Yes.
and put a new date to it and all of that, instead of just like, oh yeah, no, I'll get that, and then 2 weeks from now I'm like, oh, I forgot
What about that?
to do anything for that because I was focused on the next task that was
Yes.
up on the CRM.
Yes,
So yeah.
exactly. You are so right. Like I love a good project management tool. I'm a ClickUp girly.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not live without it either in my photography business or in my systems business now. Like it is it's my lifeblood. Next to my email and my calendar, that is where I go.
Yep.
Um it just helps you make sure that things don't fall through the cracks,
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah. And that's what we need,
yeah.
is because that's the worst feeling if you've ever
Mhm.
had that something fall through the cracks. Like, I double booked a day once, not for a
Oh
wedding, thankfully,
no.
but it was early on. I guess it was
Mhm.
probably like my maybe first second year in
Oh
business,
wow.
and I had an engagement session scheduled for a day, and
Mhm.
this was when all I had was just an Excel spreadsheet to keep
Yeah.
track of stuff. And then my sister-in-law was like, "Hey, could you do maternity photos for us on this day?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, that'd be fun." And we did that. And then at the end of the shoot, I looked at my
Mhm.
phone and saw missed calls from this other couple, and they were like,
Mhm.
"Hey, we're here. We're gonna stick around for 15 minutes or so, but haven't heard
Mhm.
from you." And it was just like that
Yeah.
that sunk stuff. It was like, oh no. And like, one, like I was very, very new and was just like, this is the end of my career. They're gonna write a terrible review, and I'm never gonna work again in this city. And
Right.
which didn't happen. But luckily they were very gracious, and like, I gave
Yeah.
them an extra long photo shoot
Aw.
a couple weeks later. But like that sort of thing, I didn't have a system in place to help me organize everything, and even to organize like what I do now, where I have I can look at my calendar and see like I don't want to book more than this many non-wedding photo shoots a month
Mhm.
because I need that that
Yes.
bandwidth to be there for
Yes.
my wedding clients, and having that in place where I can just like
Mhm.
one click see everything. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Instead of like pulling up
Oh my gosh.
spreadsheets and seeing like, oh wait, let me go back to their email thread and see, did they say that
Right.
they could do this, and
Mhm.
all that. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just any system and workflow that I have implemented has benefited me so much. And kind of going back to that first misconception that you talked about of
Mhm.
like it's going to take so much time to set it up,
Mhm.
there's like that like we in investment and stuff, there's like that
Mhm.
0 point of where, like, if you're buying a new camera, it's like, this is a $3,000 camera, you're going to be in the red $3,000 at the purchase because that camera has
Right.
done nothing for you yet.
Right.
But then once you can start booking more, because I just bought this
Yeah,
this
you
guy, which
did.
is out of focus back there. It wasn't $3,000, thankfully. It was a great deal.
Awesome.
But so far, have not made any extra
Mhm.
money from that film add-on because I just got it a week and a half ago. But
Mhm.
eventually, as I make money, it'll go back toward that 0 point where it has paid itself off, and then it's
Mhm.
all profit after that. And
Yes.
it's the same with like setting up your systems. There's going to be that red of, it's going to take a little bit of time
Yeah.
to write these templates, to set things in motion,
Mhm.
get your automation set up,
Mhm.
but eventually you'll get back to that 0
Yes.
point where it's going to save you that much
Oh my
time,
gosh.
and then it's just profit on there, and
Right.
you're just raking in all of the time,
Yes.
which is the one thing that we can't really create, and this is like the
Mhm.
closest thing that you can do to creating more time.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I have two things to add to that.
Okay.
One, you are building systems. It's a pain in the butt to get them there. But imagine like busy season you, when you are literally running all over the place.
Mhm.
You build systems before you need them, right?
Yeah.
So that
Oh, yeah.
busy season you can rely on those systems and know that your clients are getting taken care of and know that things are happening and nothing's falling through the cracks, right?
Mhm.
You build them when you are a sane person, when there's not as much going on, when you can clearly make decisions that are well thought out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that when you are sleep deprived and caffeine riddled and up until 2 a.m. editing photos, that crazy person you that we've all experienced, can rely on those sane person systems to get you through the crazy busy season, right?
Oh, yeah.
The second point of that I love is that it takes time, right? People tell you need workflows and systems. They don't tell you how to build them. They don't tell you what needs to go into them. They don't tell you this is how many times you should follow up with somebody, and this is what needs to be included in those systems. They don't do
Mhm.
that. There's no strategy behind it. It's just, you need systems, you need workflows, you need a good client experience.
Yeah.
But what the
Which is
heck does that
just
mean?
so broad, and it's like, I have no idea. It's just
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like somebody has to tell you, and somebody has to give you some guidance and walk you through that. And if you are just getting started, it goes back to the Christmas light reference. Like, where do I start? You've got to know the strategy.
Mhm.
You've got to have a process to build those. If you want, I'd love to share. I have a free workflow building workbook that I'd love to share with your listeners if you want it. That
100%,
guides
yeah.
them through that process of how to build systems for themselves and at least where to get started. That way you
Yeah.
can like have a
Yeah.
starting point.
That was going to be my next question, was like, what is a good starting point for the
Yeah.
listener who's just like, okay, cool, Melissa, this all sounds great. How do I start this? Like, so that's great. Yeah. I will get that link from you. It is in
Sure.
the show notes already, everybody. So if you're
It's
listening to
super
this,
useful.
scrolling down, you can download that.
How do you get started? You get started by identifying and mapping out your client life cycle, right? So how long does your client spend with you? What does that journey look like? And that's a question that
Mhm.
you need to ask yourself, because as you're building systems and workflows, you need to think about, what do they need from me? What do
Yeah.
I need from them? How long from the time that they book until the time their session is? Because there's a big difference between like the time a family session books you and you deliver that, and the time that a wedding books you and you deliver that. There's a
Right.
big gap there.
Hmm. Oh yeah, because I've had some family sessions that are just
And-
like within a couple weeks, and or
Next
or
weekend.
even like, hey, are you
Right,
free
exactly.
Friday?
Yes. But like identify those points. And then instead of looking at this process and thinking, I have to build a workflow for this whole entire process, that's going to take for stinking ever. Break it down into
Mhm.
phases, right? Like inquiry, onboarding, pre whatever it is, offboarding. Once you get that figured out, at that point, then you take one of those smaller phases like onboarding and figure out, okay, after my client signs their contract and submits their payment, I need to introduce them to their client portal. And then I need to get this information from them to be successful. And then they need to get this information from me to be successful. And then
Mhm.
here are some things that are good for them to know. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
Yeah.
so then you identify your workflow steps for each phase, and then you string it all together, and that's your workflow.
Yeah. No, that is so great. And like breaking it into tiny pieces is so helpful for
Mhm.
me, because I can get very overwhelmed by
Yes.
like I wrote out my whole client journey and like all the different touch points and
Mhm.
different things, and it was like 196 things. It was a lot. And that overwhelmed me a good
Right.
bit. And then like breaking it down into
Mhm.
like lead
Mhm.
nurturing, and
Mhm.
then new client, and like the booking process, and like each of those little things, it was a lot
Mhm.
easier to be like, oh, okay, cool, there's
Right.
like 7 touch points here.
Yes.
What are the things that I'm doing over and over again
Mhm.
that I could automate to do
Mhm.
it for me? Like
Yes.
like you said earlier, with like the busy season, April was insane for me, and it was so helpful to have my automation set up that automatically 6 weeks before each wedding
Yes.
sent out a questionnaire of like, hey, I'm so excited for your wedding. Like, it was written in
Mhm.
my voice and everything. It was like, just
Mhm.
need to get this information to
Yeah.
craft a great timeline for you so everything runs smoothly.
Mhm.
And then I had all of those responses when it was time for me to start working on those timelines. And it
There
wasn't
they
like
were.
me thinking like, oh, wait, no, I forgot to send this out.
Right.
And now their wedding is in 2 weeks and they don't have a timeline, and
Yeah,
all of that
exactly.
craziness.
I
So,
love
yeah.
sending out like a happy wedding week email, or like a pre-session email, or like a happy session week email, whatever you want to call it, that goes out
Mhm.
the week before. That's like, hey, so and so, I'm so excited to see you on this date, custom field at this time, custom
Yeah.
field. Here's our location. Here's where we'll be starting. Here's what I'm going to wrap up with. Because that confirms, like, I know what's going on. Even if it's all automated, you can still refer back to it.
Right.
Your client knows you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So I
Yeah.
just
You don't get those emails of like, hey, just want to confirm, are we still good for this weekend? Like, are you going to
right,
show up? I haven't heard
right,
from you in a while.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Another part of building those workflows, though, so you map it all out. The thing that a lot of people run into is that they then, okay, I've got my workflow mapped out. They then jump into their CRM to start building right away without creating the things that they need to create first. Right.
Mhm.
So you've got to go through and you've got to do the heavy lifting and create the goods, is what I like to call them. So
Yeah.
write all the emails, create the questionnaires, create the schedulers before you even start building workflows in your CRM. Otherwise, you're going to be doing that weird stop, start. Wait, I'm missing this dance, which
Mhm.
is frustrating, and it takes you away from like your zone of genius and your task that you're getting done.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot longer to accomplish. So
Yeah. Get all the puzzle pieces on the
Yes.
table before you start trying to put everything together.
yes,
It's
exactly.
like,
I
oh,
love
wait,
that you.
I
Yes.
forgot. This is in the other room. Let me go get that corner piece before I get
Right.
started.
Oh my gosh, right, exactly. I love that. And I love that you used the puzzle analogy, because that's genuinely like a
Mhm.
lot of what it is. Like puzzles. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just
Yeah.
break
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah. And then once you get it all together, it is just
Mhm.
so satisfying to just see it work, and to get those replies back
Yes.
from automated emails that are just like, oh, thank you so much for sending this. I'm like,
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
I'm glad. I didn't know
Right.
that I sent that. That's cool.
This was so helpful. Oh,
Glad
good.
you enjoyed that guide.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, Melissa, this has been so great. I loved all of this, and yeah, we'll have that freebie in the show notes for everyone. And kind of that first step, getting started, implementing all these systems and workflows and all that. Before we get into like where people can reach out to you and connect and all that, there's part of the show that I like to do where we talk about what we're loving this week, and it can be literally anything: movie, book, TV show, new food, whatever. What are you loving this week?
One, I love that you do this. It's one of my favorite parts of your whole show because I get so
Yay.
many good recommendations. You know what I mean?
That's one of the reasons that I did it. I was like, I want recommendations for new shows and stuff. I like just today, I was thinking I just finished off a box of toaster strudels for breakfast this morning.
Love it.
And I was like, oh yeah, why did I start buying toaster strudels? I'm not 12. It's cool. But like every now and then I'm just like, I just want a toaster strudel. And it's because Ivan Wagner was on the show like 3 years ago, and he was like, what I'm loving this week is toaster strudels. And then we just talked about that, and then I started buying them. So thanks, Ivan.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Still getting those strawberry cream toaster strudels.
Because that's the best flavor.
It is the best flavor. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. I'm glad that you like this segment too. What do you have to recommend for us today?
What do I love? So apparently I'm loving being just completely emotionally gutted right now by TV, music, and books. Okay.
Nice.
Really weird way to start. I know. But I just finished the series on Hulu called We Were the Lucky Ones. And it's a World War II drama that's based on a book. Have you read it?
I haven't read it, but I've been hit with ads for it on Hulu.
Oh my gosh.
And added it to my list. So it sounds like I need to watch it.
Incredible, but also it just hits you like I said, it guts you. You know what I mean? Like you have feelings all over the place for this family. It's incredible. But also I am still listening to the Tortured Poets Department. Okay. I can't not.
It's 31 tracks. So it takes a while to cycle through.
It's a problem. Let's just say that. So I'm still listening to that. And then I just finished a book by Kristen Hanna called The Women, which focuses on Vietnam War nurses that were females, which is just also like, I want to say I sobbed through half of it, but I loved it. It's one of my favorite books that I've read lately. Like it just gutted you. And you're just like, I keep going back for more. Why do I keep going back for more? This is awful. I have to finish it.
I feel like I go through cycles of when that's just too much for me. I can't handle that right now. And other times I'm just like, I just want to be emotionally gutted right now. I want to feel something. And this is like those shows like This Is Us and like Parenthood and those that sometimes I'm like, I just want to go back and watch Parenthood again. Like I just want to feel all of those things that I felt watching that the first time.
Right. Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah. And I'm also not like a big feeler. I'm very much like thinker more than a feeler, and like not very in tune with my emotions. So whenever I get that way, like maybe that's why I like those so much. And that's probably why I like horror movies and stuff, because like it makes me feel something, like a jump scare. I'm like, oh, I felt that in my heart. And it stopped for a minute.
Okay, but like comment like present day horror movies or like old school 1970s slasher flicks. And which one's your favorite?
I am a psychological thriller guy, so I love those. Some of the old 70s, even some of the like the 40s like black and white horror movies are great. But yeah, I'm not a big slasher person, so never really too big into like Friday the 13th and Halloween and all that. Those are fine. I had still watched all of them. But yeah, psychological thrillers I love. And just like anything that has a good plot twist to
Yes,
it. Like I want
yes.
some story. I don't want this to just be
Mhm.
we're running from the killer again, and then it's like, all right, cool.
There
Yeah.
he is again. Okay,
Yeah.
but Final Destination 2. You know which scene I'm talking about with the trucks and the logs.
With
Did that impact you like that
Oh, of
impacted
course,
me?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that impacted every millennial out there. I never drive behind those. Like anytime that there's a log truck or a truck just like hauling, even if it's like PVC pipes, and like this probably wouldn't hurt all that bad, but I'm not driving behind this guy. I'll get
Go,
in the
go,
slow
go,
lane.
go.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull off,
Right?
take a
Okay,
different
same.
route. It's cool. Yeah, no, I did like the last Final Destination, which I think
Mm,
they just called Final
mhm.
Destination.
I think
Is like
so.
the fifth one or something.
Mhm.
And I did like that one a little bit more than like 3 and 4.
Yes.
But yeah, those
Ugh.
are good. They
I'm gonna
make you
have
feel
nightmares
something.
now. All the
Yeah.
feels.
Someone's listening to this in the car following a log truck right now. Just get in the other lane.
Just go.
Put on your
Floor
blinker
it.
right now. Go around them.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Uh,
The other thing that I'm really loving this week is
mhm.
the sunshine, right? It's really
Mhm.
nice being outside, and it's not so humid here yet that it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable,
Yeah.
if you will. Um, and then I am also really loving, so I've played piano since I was like 5 years old, right?
Oh, nice.
And recently my husband was like, I golf all the time, but you never get to do this thing that you grew up loving. And you're like,
Mhm.
okay, that's right. And so he bought me a keyboard for our apartment. We live in a 1 bedroom apartment. And so he bought me like an electronic keyboard instead of the full piano.
Right.
Because that's just a little inconvenient
Yeah. And
for an
very heavy.
apartment. Correct. And so I've really loved lately. I've started playing again over my lunchtime, and I've really
Nice.
loved bringing that aspect of something that I used to do and love back into my adult life. It's just been so rewarding and relaxing and meditative, and like, oh, one, I can still do this, and I'm pretty dang
Mhm.
good. Not to toot my own horn, but two, it's really super fun because my nieces love Disney, and so now I've learned all the Disney princess songs, and we sit on the piano and sing, and like, it's horrible. You don't ever want to be here for that. But it's wonderful at the same time.
Nice. I love that. I don't know much piano. I taught myself a little bit. Like I had one of those that like would have the little screen and it would show you which ones to
Yes.
do. And
Yes.
like I think I was like 10 or 11, I taught myself how to play canon in D.
Yes.
Like the whole thing just memory because I still can't
Mhm.
read music. And which was kind of foreshadowing being like the wedding march song and then me being a wedding photographer years later. But yeah, that's the majority of what I know is like
I love it.
that song. And I don't even know what the chord formations are. But yeah, I've been recently trying to bring up my guitar more because I played
Oh,
that a lot in like
yeah.
high school through mid 20s or so. I
Yeah.
was, did like,
Yeah.
worship teams and stuff at different churches that I went to. And it was very fun to just sit around and
Yeah.
play music. And I kind of stopped when our oldest was born. It scared him. I guess it was just like acoustic guitar. It could be
Oh,
really loud. So he would
okay.
cry every time that I would start playing. And then I just stopped. And then I never really picked it back up
Oh,
again. And that's something
yeah.
that I've been trying to do. He's 9 now. He should be okay. Uh, and and our youngest is 3. She's good too. Maybe I'll bring it out right now
There
after
you
this
go.
and just like maybe pull
Oh,
up
how fun.
some songs from Moana or something, and we can
Yeah.
try and figure that out together.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, how fun.
but yeah, something about just like using an instrument and then it like sounding good is just
Mhm.
very fulfilling.
It really is. It
Yeah.
really, really is.
I want to hear you play. Um, you should do like a reel of like
Okay.
just your hands, like
Okay.
just playing like a song or something, and then
Yeah.
just like throw some tips or advice or
Okay.
wisdom or something
Yeah.
on there, and that would be fun. I would love to
Okay.
hear that.
Challenge accepted. It's like on my
Yay.
list this week, I still need to create content, and you've just given me a great idea.
There you go. There's one of them.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Will do.
Okay. Well, sweet. I love that. Okay. Let's see. What am I loving? A couple things in the horror movie vein that we were talking about earlier. I recently watched the Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh.
Yeah. It was not at all what I expected. I thought it was going to be more of like a slasher type
Okay.
movie.
Okay.
But no, it had an interesting story.
Okay.
Josh, not Hartnett, as a different generation
Millennial
of Joshes.
heartthrob, right?
Yeah. He was in Final Destination, right? No, Devon Sawa. That was Devon Sawa.
There you go. Totally the same genre of movies, though.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, Josh Hutcherson from Hunger Games
yes.
and Bridge to Terabithia and all that. He's the lead guy in that movie, and yeah, is very interesting. Definitely drew on some nostalgia with like the Chuck E. Cheese kind of entertainment center.
Okay.
But yeah, it was interesting. I thought it was really good. It's just I don't want to give away a lot, so
so go watch it. Is what you're
it's
saying?
good. Yeah, I think it's on Prime.
Okay.
Prime Video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love
I'll
that.
check it out.
And then also love that camera. Let me see if I can reach it with these headphones on.
Nice stretch.
Oh,
Yes, look at that.
But yeah, just got this Veronica
Wow.
GS1. I don't have any film in it, or I would do like a shutter release.
Yeah.
But I am loving it. It is a beast. It is so heavy. But it's really great. I haven't seen any of the photos that I've taken. I sent those out. Should be getting the scans back later this week. So content idea for me. I'll do a reel of my first roll.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm loving that.
Awesome.
And horror movies. So that's me in a nutshell. Cameras and horror movies. That's about it.
I love
And
it.
throw in
though.
some coffee. There you go.
There you
That's
go.
Sean.
There you go. What are you drinking this morning? You're hot today. You're drinking hot.
I'm drinking hot. It is no longer hot.
As it goes.
Yeah, it has already hit the microwave 3 times this morning. And I was like, yeah, this is what it's like whenever the kids are home, or at least one of them. Okay, she's still good out there. She like lowered down below all the blankets so I could just see like a tuft of her hair. So she's good. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's from I don't know why I'm holding it up. You can't see it, but here, this right here, it's a local grocery store brew.
Yeah.
HEB, they have a line called Cafe Olay, and it's one that I really love. It's like a breakfast,
Nice.
like a light medium blend, so it's got more caffeine in it, and it also is roasted with coconut flakes, so it cuts the acidity a lot. So you don't get like that heartburn or have that like bitter taste. It's just really smooth, even without creamer or anything.
Wow.
And yeah, I had it at a wedding 13, 14 years ago, and asked the caterers, because it was like a brunch wedding. And I was like, what is this coffee? This is so good. And they were just like, oh yeah, we got it at HEB. And now I have been buying it for the last 14 years.
Wow.
And, we'll just continue. I send it to all of my clients too. I have little bags. I'm like, this is my favorite coffee. If you drink coffee, here you go.
That's
have
amazing. Talk about a good cup of coffee at a wedding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and
That's
they had like
awesome.
a waffle bar and everything. It was one of my
Ooh.
favorites, for
Ooh.
sure. I'm always here for breakfast food.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not always here for morning weddings though. That was an early start, but it did end at like 3 p.m. So
You got
felt
your
like
whole
I
day
had the whole day.
left
Yeah, that's
at
crazy.
that point.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
but yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, that's awesome.
This I love that we talked about what we're loving. I feel like that was a very long segment.
Sorry.
No, it's great. I love talking, and also toddler's cool. She's just sitting over there. Where can people contact you, follow you online, all the things?
Sure. I'm at virtually with 2L done systems everywhere.
Cool.
Instagram. But I'm not on Facebook super a lot, but Instagram primarily. My email is Melissa at Virtually Done Systems, and my website is Virtually Done Systems. Tried to come up with an abbreviation for that years ago, and my web guy said, "Melissa, you can't do that. That's inappropriate." So you know,
Cool.
we're rolling with the full thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's fine. So Virtually Done Systems is where I am. Come find me, friends.
Nice.
I like to be a resource and an open book. So if you'll have questions about systems, workflows, whatever it might be, hit me up and I will get back to you.
Awesome. Well, cool. Yeah. And I'll throw all that in the show notes so everyone can just scroll on down and click over and follow and reach out. But yeah, Melissa, thanks so much. This has been great. I really enjoyed this. Still can't believe this is like the first time we're like talking face to face, but for sure will not be the last time. And one of these
No.
days we'll see each other
Yes.
in person.
Yes,
It'll be-
it's going
it'll
to be
great.
that moment where it's like, you exist. You do
Yay!
exist.
You're a real person. You're not AI. Okay. Which also, if you're AI and you are tricking me, great job. This is very realistic.
It's like that. Is it a Discover Card commercial with Jennifer Coolidge where she's like, where the operator's like, we're trying to like figure out if you're a robot. She goes, "Am I a robot?
Am I
You
a
know what I'm
robot?
talking
Yeah. Yeah.
about? Am I AI?"
Am I real? I have the thought every now and then. I'm like, am I just in a simulation? Am I just ones and zeros? I don't know. I feel like I have a consciousness.
See, there you go.
So probably I've seen enough of those psychological thriller movies that like turn out to be where it's all like that Black Mirror episode where the people were dating.
Yes.
That one,
Oh.
which funny thing I saw recently. There is a dating app that does run like hundreds of I don't know, virtual dates between your profiles to see if you would be a good fit. So it is essentially doing what that Black Mirror episode did, just
Oh.
maybe not with the conscious
Okay,
people
that's
in the system.
fascinating.
But yeah,
I'm really glad I have somebody and I don't have to try all this out.
me too. Me too. Yeah. But
Fascinating.
yeah, it's crazy. But yes, one day we will see each other in person and then we will feel relieved that we are not AI.
Correct.
Cool. Awesome. Melissa, this has been great. I feel like we could just keep going. But I'm gonna wrap us up. I know that the little one has just been sitting on the
Yes.
floor outside of my window, just
Mm.
waiting. She just keeps like motioning
Break that
for me.
guitar
Just like,
out and go
come-
sing some Moana.
come here.
Like,
I need attention.
yes.
So
yes.
I'm gonna go sing some Moana. But thank you so much for being on the show. This was great.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. So much fun.
Awesome. Well, I would say thanks for watching, everyone, but we didn't go live today. So it says live recording, but I do not see it anywhere. So if you
Okay.
are watching somewhere out
Thank you.
there, thank you. We enjoyed it.